Yeah, the only reason why I kind of bring up the question is that we saw last game the eighth pick was given over to the Deucer. Just it's often like a core that you can look to protect in the second phase because honestly, I think it's. Would you say it's the most important pick
Radiant
of any team
team
that
ban.
has first pick overall?
Oh yeah,
Dire
absolutely.
team
I
ban.
mean, the first pick is, I'd say that's kind of important as well, right? Because you got to make sure that not only are you picking a very good hero, but you're denying
Dire
away
team
something that
pick.
the enemy team might want, like a pseudo third Bane, I guess. But this, for me, is how you're looking to play. You have to play around that pick in your draft. The first pick is much more like, this is what we're doing, now deal with it. Whereas second pick is like,
10
okay, this is
seconds
what you're doing.
remaining.
This is how we're going to deal with it with counter pick.
5
Obviously, this
seconds
gives an
remaining.
opportunity for KOBOLDS to ban out some of the cores though. Pango, Tiny, along with the Dragonite, not going to be in our second game. And Execration, they put a lot of emphasis on banning out supports.
Yeah. I guess just things that deal well with that play well with the Mars, particularly the Grimstroke, is going to be the big thing. Piranha, Shadow
Radiant
Demon,
team pick.
not as much, but it feels like just a little bit of a Cobalt specialty. And I mean, Hoodwink is basically Piranha equivalent, right? The stuns are a little bit less, but the damage output so much more.
Of course, it was the answer we saw in Gamers Galaxy to the Death Prophet, the Hoodwink
10
plus
seconds
one. Mainly it
remaining.
was the Sand King, but this Hoodwink now gives you
5 seconds remaining.
multiple ways to be able to burst her down. But Execration, I'd love another Abaddon.
Radiant
I think this
team
is
pick.
a hype pick, especially with what Kobolds have. No, I want it to be so right. I still reckon it looks good.
Like I was saying, this is probably the support duo, right? The DP and the Weaver. So Beastmaster, I like it. You know, Bane, Nyx, Hoodwink, not the
10
greatest at dealing with
seconds
a lot of this
remaining.
push. You've also got the Hawk, so great ways to be able to
5
enable your Ember
seconds
Spirit to
remaining.
start out a lot of these team fights, and Scurry isn't even going to protect you if you're trying to run away from a Beastmaster. So yeah, I got pretty strong from Execration again. Maybe lacking a little bit of stuns should be a bit of a concern for mine. I'm thinking, can they just go for a Chaos Knight themselves with their last overall pick? I wouldn't hate it.
Execration you're speaking about?
Yeah.
Yep. Um, yeah, I wouldn't hate it either. It gives him really strong lanes. I don't know if he's someone that has the best synergy with Inner Beast though. That's like my one.
Illusions.
Sure. You get a
And
lot of.
it's not like you need to rely on him entirely to
Radiant
push, right? You're
team
going to have a
ban.
Beastmaster with a Helm of the
Storm
Overlord,
Spirit.
or just the Dominator, and you're going to have a Death Prophet's Exorcism, right? So you don't need to pop your ultimate every single time. It basically almost guarantees that you're going to take a good team fight with the Phantasm
Dire
every
team
chance you
ban.
have.
We like the Storm getting picked up though from Kobolds. It's
Radiant
something that
team
Velky
ban.
is pretty comfortable with. It's a winning matchup versus the Ember Spirit, and something you mentioned is that Execration do have a bit of a weakness in their control at the moment, so Storm should have a decent game into this.
Kunkka's gone, wisely enough. PA still in the pool, but I
10
feel like
seconds
that is way
remaining.
too. I'd say it's too greedy against this lineup. You know, you're just going
5
to get run
seconds
down
remaining.
because your other heroes outside of the Mars don't really deal all that well with push. I guess Storm Spirit kind of does. You know, you just buy 5 null
Dire
talismans
team
and
ban.
zip through team fights over and over again. So, yeah, something like the Medusa seems like a bit of a better band, something that can get active with, well, not active, but actually respond to a team fight with 1 or 2 items. Um, what else can you really think of? Troll, I guess, would be the other thing that you might look to consider.
10 seconds
Just because you're
remaining.
not really going to be able to control him through battle trance, right?
Radiant team pick.
Troll.
Ah, so funny. Do Kobolds they did ban out the Chaos Knight? Like
Yeah.
you mentioned that Execration might consider going down that route, so they won't have that along with the Terrorblade, which they are looking for a physical damage dealing carry.
10 seconds
They just need
remaining.
burst damage, right? Like that's what I was really looking for with the CK because
5
Storm
seconds
Spirit isn't being
remaining.
controlled this game. You know, you're just, if there are too many times where the Storm
Dire
Spirit is
team
not
pick.
zipping
Red
around,
team.
I'll be a little bit concerned. I like the fact that they've gone for a stun. It's a slow stun, but it's a stun, right? You can follow up on it and follow up on a Beastmaster Roar, follow up on a Searing Chains. Storm doesn't love building into the Kyron Sange anymore, at least some don't. you'll still get the BKB most likely,
10
but yeah,
seconds
Wraith King
remaining.
pretty solid.
And it's a good matchup versus the Mars. The lane Mars is going to have a
5
fine
seconds
time, but it's
remaining.
more just their game. You have sustain to be able to stand your ground in arena. You've got second life as well, so the potential to burst him down trading ultimates is always going to favor the Wraith King. So I like this last pick for Execration. We'll see how Kobolds are able to react to the Wraith King carry, though.
I want to see either a Troll or an Ursa come out here. I think both would be pretty decent. Maybe even a... No, about to say Sven, but no.
I thought of Sven as well with
Um,
the beast. Yeah, I'm like, Sven, Warcry would be nice, a little minus armor, but yeah, we just don't
you,
see that hero.
you just get kited in
Yeah.
lane as well. That's the other thing. That's actually one of the other heroes that's a Chaos Knight counter, is the Sven. Just because you pop the Warcry, you're good, basically. Not just you, but the rest of your team.
Yeah, it's a potential reason of why we're seeing so many Chaos Knight games is because some of those big counters aren't really prevalent in the meta at this stage. But Kobolds, 7 seconds left to be able to determine what this last pick is going to be, giving over to Fortune
Roll
Soul
me, please.
Gyro.
No,
Choose your
it's
hero.
okay.
It gives you, it's a pretty decent way to be able to deal with the summons in the lane. You're more than likely going down the flat cannon route. We have kind of seen it flip-flop back and forth if gyros want the rocket barrage for the lane dominating factor, or if, you know, sometimes you'll go into that flat cannon just for the farming, but mainly now it is if you have, you're versing like a Nature's Prophet or a Beastmaster just to get rid of the summons.
Beastmaster as well, like, it forces them to go into the gyrocopter, but even just in the laning stage, right? The Bane, you can't really go the Nightmare anymore because you're always going to be able to remove it with the boar quite easily. So probably see some kind of like 1-2-1 build from the Bane in the laning stage, just trying to max
5
out the brain
seconds
sap, be as
remaining.
survivable as possible, provide them with that little bit of additional burst damage, even just to be able to use it to clear out some of the boars and feed the experience through over to Fortune Soul, I think is the way that Moody's going to want to play it.
Well, who are you giving the edge in this second game? Do you feel like Execration have what it takes to, you know, get off to a good start in this phase 1 and 2-0 the likes of Kobolds, or are we going to a game 3?
I think they do. I liked the fact that they went for some form of additional stun with their last pick overall, just to be able to deal with the Storm Spirit. Other than the Storm, I don't think that that Kobolds should be able to put up too much of a fight. To be honest, I feel like their draft overall just punishes the big weaknesses in being able to defend against push. They've got very strong lanes with the supports that are hard to kill. Even the Ember Spirit's pretty hard to kill, right? So I feel like the way that you're going to be able to potentially win this game is you got to put all of your emphasis for Kobolds in just stopping Tino. Do that, maybe you've got a shot. But other than that, I think Execration will out execute.
Yeah, I too feel like Execration. I like just the lineup overall with the synergy they have, especially with this last king of this last pick Wraith King. I think pulls it all together perfectly. You wanted that right clicking carry who really gets usage out of the inner beast, really gets usage out of the minus armor that you have coming through from the bugs. You know, potentially orb corrosion from Bob's Ember Spirit. Just a heads up, we do have a quick pause as well, so we'll keep on the cameras real quick before we get into that one, but. Yeah, I think Execration, it looks like a really solid draft overall. I think my one big concern is how they can start fights. I think maybe that's a bit of a weakness from them. You probably relying on Blink on Wraith King, which we can see. It depends. Sometimes you like to go early on, like Armlet Blink. Sometimes like Armlet Deso, if he needs to go down that route, or if Tino wants to go for like a Blink straight after the Helm of the Overlord.
He needs to go like Armlet BKB Blink. Not going to stop the Fiend script for you, but I feel like you've got the silence on the DP that's going to be able to disrupt that. You don't need to use any kind of like Primal Roar to stop the Fiend's grip. You're going to have vision of the team fight because of the Beastmaster anyway with the Hawk. And I just feel like you need it against the Mars, right? You don't want to be arenaed without a way to be able to respond to that, right? It just feels like you're waiting around to die, basically. So I think that's probably the best avenue that I'm looking for. You mentioned that Execration might have a bit of an issue starting fights, but I actually don't think that's an issue before they get to high ground. Like, You just run at towers otherwise, right? You don't need to start the fight. The fights will come to you.
Yeah, that's always the nice thing
30
about the Death
seconds
Prophet
to
is that as soon as you just pop Exo, it's forcing the enemy team to come to you. Like, ways to take fights is, of course, having initiating hero stuns, etc., or just having like pushing potential, like taking towers, forcing a team to actually react. Otherwise, you're gonna lose map control.
Yep, your Death Prophets, your Dragon Knights, Beastmaster, heroes of that ilk.
Yeah, without a doubt, as
The battle
you
begins.
see, Tino's actually going to take a bit of damage with this homing missile and Moody nearby. They've already used the brain sap, but the right clicks are going to bring Tino down in a very critical threshold. In fact, it will be enough to get the kill. Fortune Soul, a much better start to our game one. KOBOLDS are able to find that.
Went for a little bit of a greedy build there and didn't even pop the tango as he was running, so forced to lose a little bit of that unreliable gold, sadly for him. But once he picks up the Helm of Iron Will, things will become a bit easier. Trying desperately. Oh, they even deny the hawk there that was flying out over the trees. So they know that this camp is going to be blocked up a little bit, but it's not like Tino makes use of it anyway until he gets that Helm of the Dominator.
Moody did use a lot. Oh, is that sentry? No, just out of range of the hard. So they're going to block the small camp up, but hard is already blocked as well. I was going to say Moody's already used his sentry kind of out of the lane, so Shanks will have at least the early couple of minutes to be able to be a nuisance with that Sakuchi.
He will, but I still feel like this is the time where you need to get aggressive onto Tino if you can, right? Like, the Weaver isn't who you're concerned about right now. It's just preventing the Beastmaster from getting into level 3, which is why it's so great that Shanks, he's playing completely away from him, making sure that the Beastmaster gets all of that experience for himself while doing a pretty good job of trading with the Bane. He's even going to get the Courier Snipe here. Maybe even
Dire's
2.
courier has been killed.
Oh, no. Not going to get the boots coming out from the gyrocopter, so as we will pan over to mid, Velky having a very good start. 11 and 2 compared to the 5 and 1 from Bob, but the Ember never really plays too well into the Storm Spirit matchup as bottom lane, Vincenzo. Will that be brought down? The God's Rebuke and one more right click as Phil as the secures their second kill of the game for KOBOLDS.
Nicely done. Doesn't have the Blightstone on the Hoodwink, which can be very effective in this sort of lane, right? You're always wanting to be trading as best as possible, and Mars one of the better heroes to actually take advantage of that with the God's Rebuke, but clearly things going quite well for them down here, looking to max out on the stats.
Where do you put the Wraith King in terms of carries at the moment in this patch?
I would say low-ish. I think it needs to be picked into a response of like a team that has incredibly heavy committal to the start of team fights, or when you're lacking stuns, maybe. You just need to pick it up, and I feel like it was the latter this time around.
I think the nice thing with this Wraith King, though, we're going to have a lot of action down bot. You've got two very strong laning heroes on the side of KOBOLDS in the Mars and the Hoodwink, and then same to be said for Execration with the Death Prophet and the Wraith King. So a lane that we're going to get a lot of action on. And I think all the side lanes and even mid, because it's a very, like, it's a matchup that Ember is not going to get zoned out heavily, but Storm can always find the potential for a solo kill before level 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that maybe the only thing that will be lacking this game in terms of early action is any kind of support making their way towards the mid lane. Maybe the Hoodwink can before you get level 6 on the Ember Spirit, but I feel like they just want to try and deny Palace as much farm as they can.
Continuing to brawl up top. Tino and Shanks pretty low health. Shanks will get the... Oh, okay. Oh, they're going to both lose their sentries, but Moody's able to replenish the one in the lane, so continuing to offer some sentry control. We might have Scotty in some trouble, but the support is left. Phil is on the Hoodwink's not going to be playing with the Mars at this moment. Vincenzo, though, doesn't have a Spirit Siphon charge, so it's just going to be reliant on the right clicks with the Crypt Swarm at the last second. Level 2 is enough from Vincenzo to secure the kill.
How are those strong laners? I know my Wyvern definitely couldn't chase that out.
Wyvern's definitely not one of the top laners, without a doubt.
Probably near the bottom, actually. So.
Hate to see it.
Yeah.
This is definitely a much better start from KOBOLDS though. You see Storm is demolishing mid as Palace will be killed off bottom. Skadi and Phil is like, it's a little bit of revenge as Vincenzo's still trying to find that Crypt Swarm. They have another spear up. Oh no. Vincenzo just sidesteps the spear and gets away with his life.
Philoslav's still looking pretty good though. You know, he's been able to get a lot of this harass out, even has 7 last hits. Has he got any Spirit Siphon charges? He does. Oh. Able to expend that one. The damage is just too much for him to be able to withstand.
Much better start though, KOBOLDS. Look at this. 5 kills, 1,000 net worth lead. So what is the main way they can continue with this good start into the early game? Who's that #1 hero that needs to continue with the pressure?
Probably Storm. Like, we see with the build these days, right? Look at him. He's already got the 3 null talismans. You don't need a lot to be able to do a lot as the Storm Spirit. You end up doing a lot just by getting a lot of those levels. Oh, they went for a kill attempt there onto the Ember. You get a lot of that experience from being able to get the kills as well as farm up so quickly, right? Just with this null talisman rush, which means your team fight is very effective. He ends up bottling up that DD rune. I feel like I want to see Valky.
Is he going to stand his ground? Oh!
Okay.
Valky! Alrighty, well, he's comfortable in the Storm Spirit, and he's showing why. Double kill out off the back of the help of the double damage rune, and that is a great way to be able to continue to amp up your Storm's early game.
Absolutely. It's going to be a little bit low on the mana front, but just goes back. He'll bottle up the bounty rune. I really want to see him play around this top side of the map. Tino, he's very close to picking up the Helm of the Dominator, which means he's holding on to a lot of unreliable gold.
Alright, Palos able to get the kill. Bob doesn't have a point in the chains, and the stun is still on cooldown on Palos, but a rotation from Bob gets them their 2nd kill from Execration.
Taking some of the stacks that were made for himself inside of his own jungle. The stack it again? No. Clearly not a support player.
God damn it, Bob. You need to think about all the farm. All that experience and gold you can get. Oh, he's actually gone back to bottom. Skadi, I don't know if a defensive arena is really going to do anything to hold them back. You're going to be relying on Fuelisla. But Bob, maxed out Slight. He's got plenty of damage to put the Mars in the grave for another time. And he just TP'd back, so he's going to have to make the walk a shame.
This feels like an exact replay of what we saw last game on the Necrophos, right? Am I wrong?
You're not
Is this
wrong.
not exactly what happened?
You are not wrong at all. And I hope he doesn't continue with this item build that he has. I feel like you don't want to see that. Danog, or you, I don't know, might get some interesting
I've seen it.
Okay.
I saw the Void Stone on the courier sitting next to it when I hadn't had him selected. I'm like, oh, he might be going for a Yule Scepter. And then I look in his quick buy and I'm like, oh no. Oh no, not this.
Alright, well that's... Shanks will be killed off in the river once again. Velky looking to get him active. So you were mentioning that the Storm Spirit is going to be a big hero to keep our eyes on through the early game to be able to continue with this momentum after the lanes, and Velky is doing just that.
What's this Kyron Sange? Where's the Null Talismans? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I've seen like... So really the stock standard Storm builds. I've seen the multiple nulls, 3, 4. Sometimes it's actually bottom lane. Skadi gonna use the first arena of the game. Trying to rectify those previous deaths. You'd really love to get the kill over to Skadi. Vincenzo's making him work for it though with his Spirit Siphon. But his spear's gonna be back up in a couple of seconds. He doesn't have trees to be able to pin him to. But the damage is all he needs to get the kill. But Skadi still hung around for quite some time. So Palos, with a phase Brutes, is able to step in. Fizzler gets the bushwhack from afar. Now Skadi's just going to TP out. So beautiful play. Oh, that was a very ambitious sharpshooter attempt.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Putting a little bit of fear into him, you know?
Okay.
Doesn't always need to result in the kill.
All right. So he's got meteor. So, what do they?
Their damage, their tower push does kind of suck.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so that is certainly a factor towards it. But my issue is, are they ever going to get this lane in a position where he's able to use the meteor hammer? Because Vincenzo, he's just parking himself here and trying to push
Oh,
it
we
out.
might see now. Scotty, look at this chain control. Oh, it's perfect. Is Vincenzo still not dead just yet until the last tick is enough in top lane. Across the map we go. It's going to be Tino with the Roar combined with Bob to get the 4th kill in Execration. And Velky even adds another one to the tallies. The Storm Spirit up to dominating. Might have some action on the river. Bob is able to steal the regen. Bob's only got 1 remnant, low in mana. Same with Velky. Looks like both position 2s are going to set themselves apart with a duel and just walk away.
I don't know. I feel like Bob wants to go for a dive here. He's nearly got that 2nd remnant available. Still has the regen ticking, but luckily enough for Valky, he's able to get that bottle refill through.
Dire's structures are fortified.
And Bob's considering we know how aggressive he likes to play.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Just the aggressive fortify as well. Making sure that he's able to stand up in the face of Valky as much as possible. And here we go. Going for the kill attempt.
Let's see if they can get the chain control afterwards. The Hoodwink TP a little bit too long. Feels like gets the bushwhack and sharpshooter chain. Oh, the burst won't even come out in the nick of time. And now Vincenzo's chasing down another. This time it's Moody they want to put in the grave. And with 3 heroes surrounding him by the Ancients, you'd hate for the deny, and, well, that will not be a factor. So they get multiple kills, an Ancient stack, and the tier 1 tower to the name of Execration.
Yeah, the leads evaporated now, and Tino, he turned up to that, but it really did feel like it was just for the tower taking potential.
Long as it's in, Tino is under a ward. Let's see if they're going to have the damage to kill him off. Well, Scotty's able to step in from the right side, so they definitely will with the Mars showing up.
Yeah, a little bit ambitious playing around there, that's for sure. You know, you are still on the enemy side of the map. You are still playing against a hero lineup that does like to take a lot of these stacks, right? Black Cannon maxed out on the Gyrocopter, 0 points in the Rocket Barrage, emphasizing the stacks. Seen previously that Valky had gone for that as well, so I don't think he'll be making that kind of greedy farming attempt again. At least he gets a bit of information out of it, right? Don't go in this area alone. Rudy's
going into bottom jungle alone, but he's got detection, so Sentry holds back Shanks. Does Bob want to jump over? No, Rudy's able to get a decent amount away, but man, take a look at the net worth Fortune Soul with this maxed out flak cannons, got the stats build. He's going to go Aghanims first, and he's sitting pretty comfortable in the top of the net worth.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm always a little bit in 2 minds, right? You know me, I'm about the value, right? That's why I'm such a big fan of the raindrops. I kind of want to see him just go the passive Morbid Mask after this.
Oh, Scotty, nice spear. And then now that allows Moody to get in range for the control afterwards. Beautifully played from Scotty. That was even without a blink. He just stepped into the lane behind the trees, and that's all they needed. The first stun into the chain.
Without a blink, and more importantly, in my eyes, without the Storm Spirit. He was just continuing to farm up, increase his net worth lead. He's level 12 alongside the Gyrocopter as well. So a lot of that zippage does a lot more damage now and a lot faster.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They get a D ward, a freshly placed observer from KOBOLDS behind the tier 1 tower. They did deny it though, so Vincenzo getting none of the benefits of that, but one thing we
also smoked up right underneath this Hawk here.
Oh,
flying next to Valky, so the players know to stay either really close to each other underneath a tower or be like a Weaver and just do annoying Weaver things, push out lanes solo. You might die, but does it matter? The rest of your team is doing stuff? Probably.
Shanks? Okay, they're still holding a stun in the Vortex. You saw what the call was though from Execration, because you mentioned that they had full awareness of that smoke and them transitioning it to bottom. So Execration immediately pinged out the top jungle. They got a ward down by the hard camp next to the tier 2 tower mid. They're also clearing all of this area. So now KOBOLDS, after that kill, they can't sweep back to top and get any economic advantage out of this side of the map.
Might be looking to go into Roshan here.
Early.
Why not? 4 points in Inner Beast. Plenty of units that are able to tank it up. The Hellbear doing a good job.
Did you give it a bob? More than likely, right?
I would say so, yeah.
For me, I liked what you brought up earlier when I was mentioning the Wraith King's itemization, like if it was going to be like Armlet Blink or whatever Palace was thinking about. And for me, I think this game, Execration, have a big advantage when they get BKBs, is they've run into the Storm Spirit. The chain control needs to be perfect, and that's where Tino can come into play. Beautiful placement of the Hawks, and they're even looking to chain this into a second kill, but no one's home at the triangle.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
And
attack.
get rid of that Observer Ward. And I can understand wanting to play around what you would assume is a safe-ish area there on the Storm Spirit, but you always need to be really careful. I personally love going for a smoke immediately after a Roshan kill, but it can be kind of obvious too, right? As Fearless Lies getting chased a little bit here, trying to use the Scurry to get on away.
Radiant are scanning.
Doesn't go for the chain. Oh, he actually did go for it. It was just a little bit late. But it's kind of easy to read that sort of play, right? Like, you just need to wait until at least a couple of people are still showing on the map. Most notably, the ones that can kill you. You know, the ones with the stuns that can lock down the Storm Spirit. So it's a little bit of a... We can call it a blunder, but I feel like Valky's playing really well so far, so you can't really put too much on it.
Moody's in quite a peculiar position for the position 5 Bane, and with all the information, it's going to mean that KOBOLDS are trying to take the fight across the map. They're onto Tino. A sharpshooter from downtown is enough to get rid of the life of the Beastmaster, but Execration is giving them time to be able to close the distance and get in the area in case another fight breaks out, but KOBOLDS don't think otherwise about sticking around, although Fearlessla wanted to boast supports of Execration. He's got the Scurry movement speed, but they're continuing to dive under the T2 tower. Skadi and Velky standing hand in hand. They want to offer some assistance, and they'll do just that. A Vortex and the burst enough to get rid of the life of Vincenzo, and Fearlessla keeps his own life.
He's got that completed Kyra and Sanj now as well, so just so much more tanky, you know.
Very aggressive. First on, Shanks is nearby, but what can they really do to protect the Ember? They might kill him a second time. Yeah. Let's see if they can find it. Nice light from Bob, but it will not matter. Moody holds the Fiend's grip after the Aegis completely wasted. And another death on Bob's Ember Spirit.
See, I was a fan of giving Bob the Aegis just because he likes to play aggressive, right? But there's measured aggression, and then there is, what are you going to do solo here? You know, no one revealing on the map, Beastmaster not near you. If you're making all of this space, and even potentially giving up the Aegis, while Beastmaster takes a tower, go for your life, right? Do everything that you possibly could want to do, but to go for a kind of solo play like that, doesn't really feel like the play.
And they still have not addressed Fortune Soul, who is free farming across the map and is working on a Satanic as his next item.
Okay. I was thinking maybe you might have been lacking in a little bit of damage if he went down this route. I was saying the Morbid Mask first, just to put a little bit of that.
That's perfect positioning from Fearlessla. They were trying to aim out Fortune Soul. They still might catch up to the Gyrocopter. Moody can disrupt this a little bit with the Nightmare, so holding back Palace will not give them a stun. In fact, they're going to be forced to use the Roar. A big crit from Palos to get the life. Meanwhile, at the front of the T2 tower mid, Skadi's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Bob and Shanks combined together. Skadi is slowed down for the moment. Bob's going to have another chains up shortly, but still Velky, he looks to get involved as Fortune Soul stepping to the lane. A time lapse out from Shanks along with a Sakuchi. He's falling lower and lower. Shanks, can he get away with his own life? I don't think the missile is enough to secure the kill. So beautifully done. Execration continuing to find the numbers advantage and the kills across the map.
Difference is, though, that time around, Tino was parked in the bottom side of the map, and he was taking that tower. So you were still closing the map down.
Well, they're unfortunate soul. Still without Satanic has got Moody behind it, with all these heroes surrounding the gyrocopter. It doesn't matter. A bushwhack holds back Execration. Now the Fiend's Grip as well. Velky's going to look to jump into the last second, but the gyro is gone. Velky's out of mana and soon to be out of health as well, with Palos stepping onto the high ground. A crit just cut away his life, sent back to base in a body bag. And Execration up the high ground they go. Feels like in a bit of trouble. Although the bushwhack and spear combination means that Shanks, can he get away with this? Still got time up to 5 seconds. Scott is gonna miss the God's Rebuke. A spear is there and he just gets the kill.
But, I mean, it's space. That's the definition of space. Look what's happened in the meantime. Tier 2 tower's gone. Tier 3 tower's gone. You've got this granite golem helping them whack right on into your your racks. That's going to be a lane.
Wow.
Finally. Hoodie finally as well gets a point in the infinity.
Scotty gonna jump over. Bob's still nearby. So they'll get the life for Tino, but it looks like Execration, they don't want to give away any more numbers. Bob's gonna be a bit cautious with Moody trailing. He's got one more remnant along with BKB. You'd hate to force out the BKB, and he will. He had a potential to turn back and slide the crew wave to dodge the missile, but wanted the guaranteed save in the BKB.
Speaking of BKB, Palos just had his delivered, so really like that. It just means that he's not scared about playing into the Mars anymore. Having about 500 gold, so I would personally assume that he's going to go Blink Dagger next, just to be able to instantly join into whoever gets caught out, and to play a lot closer together with the Beastmaster too.
And that one death on Fortune Soul, it's given a huge window for Palos to usurp the net worth. He's on top of the moment. For the entirety of the game, it was Fortune Soul leading the way, but the kill into the barracks.
I feel like Palos has gone up about 3,000 net worth in the time that Fortune Soul's gone up 500.
Yeah. I guess that's... I don't know if he got the kills on the barracks as well. He got one. He got the tower last hit too. Regardless, it's just a lot that he got out of it. What, 6, 1, and 3, so multiple kills more than likely, and you're right, he's going to be going Blink after this BKB.
And they have no way to defend against this push, right? They don't have the Beastmaster with them, which I'm kind of surprised about. I mean, he's very close to picking up that drums on Tino. So maybe just wanting to secure that for himself. Or joining the rest of the team. They have no glyph to be able to deal with this kind of push. And yeah, with this drums, it just feels like way too much for KOBOLDS to have to try and defend against. Like, who could do it? Maybe the Gyro can. He's just going to have enough for the Satanic now.
Scotty. Oh no, Scotty. Blink straight into the hands of Execration. The 5-man smoke. Yeah, that is ridiculous amounts of damage. And they're instantly starting to transition this to top when Moody, he can't deal with the skellies or the catapult, so Moody just might die. He's got to get out. Tino trying to close. He's got the roar available, but he's able to get back to safety. Okay. They've overstepped a boundary. A buyback coming through from the Mars is going to blink to the backline, but Bob, an instant use of the BKB, but Bob's out of mana. Is still going to try and TP up, but the Fortune Soul damage is not enough at this stage of the game. But a bit of a misstep from Execration, though. They fight. They've got Exo.
Call that an offlane for offlane, though. Oh.
Palos is going to blink on top of the Wraith. That's so much damage. Scotty had to die back down for 70. Now Palos, his still got Reincarnation, still has BKB. They're unable to deal with Velky, which is a big concern, but if they could just look to avoid the Storm Spirit, and they're doing just that. Palos rips apart both the lives on the supports. Down to the west, Velky trying to close onto Vincenzo, but Velky is completely out of mana. No resources to play with. Palos, he's got plenty now with a second life. He'll crit away Storm Spirit's health pool. And now, to the north? What are they eyeing up, Sharpshooter? It's onto the Emperor Spirit. Tino's a bit too late to disrupt this. They're back to the river as Palos, Jewel and set up, sending his ground to Fortune Soul, but the Scotty pop means that Palos' damage is just shrugged off.
Got a little bit too optimistic there, did Vincenzo. The gyrocopter, he might have fallen behind a tiny amount, but he is still incredibly farmed. Now up to level 20. That flat cannon was enough to be able to deal with him when he was just trying to get a bit of the exorcism ghosts into attacking the gyro.
They forcing the issue with this Roche?
They have a pretty terrible Roche lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a great hero to put it on too, but the lineup.
I don't know if they can take this. Bob's up in 5. This is, you're almost putting it on a platter if Execration win this fight.
Yeah, but I feel like KOBOLDS, they're in the position where I know it's only a 3k net worth lead. It feels like a lot more to me. So you need this to try and come back into the game and cement yourselves.
You can't leave the
For
area
me,
now.
yeah, this is the right play. They got to go for this smoke. They've got to find the wraparound, and they've got to get in onto one of the more vulnerable heroes. Vincenzo would be great to pick off first.
See if they can. Eyes on Velky. The initial stun's there. Now with the follow-up in the Raw, Velky's in trouble. And Arena's not enough to keep him alive. But to the right side, Fortune Soul is doing a lot of damage to the Gyrocopter. They hold back Palace. Reincarnation finally claimed.
Palace has
can
no
they
BKB.
set themselves up? Palace can do nothing. Just standing there and watching as KOBOLDS. Alright, you buy back on Velky, but now you've got the Aegis to give over to the Storm Spirit. A successful fight for them.
Immortality is mine.
Absolutely. Like, that is the exact way that they needed to play that fight. They did it to perfection, realizing that they have terrible Roche. They don't want to be fighting in this small enclosed area against the likes of, you know, Weaver and Ember Spirit. They've got Shanks a little bit as well, who might end up beating his life away too.
Alright.
Throw the man down.
It's about to be a 6,000 net worth swing for KOBOLDS as soon as they take this tier 1 tower, and a lot of momentum now being built up, and you've also got some items starting to be accumulated as well. The sharp, so the Aghanim Scepter from the Hoodwink is the most recent one.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Okay. See that one being built up there as Valky, with this next creep wave, is going to have enough for his BKB as well. Very important item. The tower push is still lacking, so that's certainly going to be a factor. It's going to be assisted a little bit by the siege creep here, pushing in on the top side, but it only ends up being a tier 1 basically taken at the end of all of that. Yes, I know they got the Aegis, but Velky had to buy back for it, so it's basically 1 life for 1 life.
Rudy is under vision. Gonna run into Bob and Palace, but the rest of KOBOLDS are in the neighborhood if they still want to take the fight down the Bane.
They got to completely get out. They have to. Like, Bane is such an important part of their team fight. The only reason they were able to win the previous one was that he got
Bob
a great
doesn't want to let them. Remnant's over, BKB out. They're going to take the Mars out of the equation. So no arena for the team fight. Now they're going to be forced to try and kite Fortune Soul. Like, once again, standing his ground. He's doing so much damage with a freshly picked up Crystallis. And now the Raw's going to hold him back, but still there's no answer they have. They didn't give the Aegis over to Fortune Soul. They gave it to the Storm Spirit instead. As now with Storm killed off, they're going to look to surround him on round 2. An instant stun set up by follow-up, and KOBOLDS lose all 5, and Execration can now start to pillage the base.
Oh, that's one of those weird situations where you understand it, wanting to have the BKB in the backpack because you've got the Aegis available for yourselves, but the time that it takes for it to be reactivated once you die and put it back into your inventory means that he wasn't able to pop it immediately after. Yeah, that's game. It's probably going to go for 1 more defense. You'd have to use the buyback. There's no way you're doing it without the gyro buyback.
Maybe it's not yet. You're going to have 3 heroes. All right, doesn't buyback throughout the arena combo. He's going to get there a little bit late. Reincarnation live claim. You need to get rid of Moody. There's the Fiend's grip out. Bob's going to jump to the backline, but the chains is too late. Moody, a huge reason why they can continue to defend the base. As Bob's got a BKB, he'll be okay, but you mentioned in the last fight how important Moody was, and we saw it just there with the Fiend's grip controlling Palos.
A couple of times, though, that the Moody's been good with his spell casting, but I feel like there's perhaps a bit of an issue in their comms because there's been a couple of instances in team fights. That one there, they could have potentially locked down the Ember Spirit to the tree, get him to die with the Nightmare follow-up after that. Instead, he was able to BKB and get away. But just because you use the Nightmare at the same time as the Spear, and in a previous team fight, I'm pretty sure we've seen the Nightmare used at the same time as the Bushwhack as well, which ended up missing as a result of it. So it's something that they have the avenue to improve, that's for sure. Their first tier 2 of the game.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
It's unfortunate though for them. Of course, the position of that previous fight means that they're not going to get many objectives off the back of the team fight victory. They will continue actually to stand their ground in Radiant's triangle, or do they leave this area?
You have to. You have to. Like, this is... It's a pretty vital area to be having to play around. Smoking before they're able to get that last free. Hopefully that wouldn't be the key team fighting item that they need. It's still tier 3 items. And
Fortune Soul, Smoke's gonna pop. They got a really good ward in the jungle. Valkyrie's gonna look to jump the backline, so the Beastmaster killed off instantly. Now they're eyeing up the Ember Spirit. Bob, they both don't have buyback. KOBOLDS taking the aggression straight to Execration. And they're proving that they still have some fight left in them. As Valkyrie's got plenty of mana to hunt down the Weaver. 3 have been killed off just for the price of Moody.
that fact as well. He wanted to make sure he was baiting the Weaver around that sentry ward, which is still up there on the high ground. Wasn't able to get rid of the Observer ward, but gets him a kill on the bug instead. Still though, same issue. Push is lacking. So
You reckon?
I think it is.
Dara's got some damage now, of course. I know you always like to say crits don't work against buildings, but still's gonna do okay.
It's okay. It's no Wraith King Desolator.
Yeah, it's no Exo Beast and the Wraith King together.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack. Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
The Hawk.
Very nicely done. KOBOLDS, they're almost evening up the advantage that Execration had through the mid lane. And we are currently seeing that they have no answer to Fortune Soul. Like, he is just doing way too much, chaining his ground with this Satanic, with this Daedalus. Avoiding him is awkward because of the range that he has with his right clicks, but then confronting him is difficult because then you give an opportunity for Moody to get like a really good Fiends group out, or you don't blow up Valky, or Skadi gets a good arena. So, like, what's the play for Execration? How do they take these fights?
Honestly, good question, because I feel like previously you might have been able to get off like... Hold on, Chenzo. Forward a little bit, but the Spidey senses actually were tingling. I suppose the fact that they de-warded that high ground previously discouraged him wanting to play in this sort of area. But I think previously, before he had the Elven Tunic, maybe you were able to take him down. But I feel like that 16% evasion is going to do a lot. You know, just make him survive that one extra right click that might give him the survivability to pop the Satanic for himself.
Maybe this next item on Palos can help out, though. Will be the Skadi. So he's going to buy out for this. Needs a little bit more gold, but of course the Skadi's very good against any range carries.
The ones that like to heal.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. They have the Ancient Rumble Hide that has the accuracy increase. So you will go through some of the evasion.
Never mind.
Okay. Well, you got bonus health now. I believe it's still here. Alright, smoke up. KOBOLDS trying to take the fight on the high ground. Skadi, what an arena! Finds two. Valkyrie's got the instant fall, but now the numbers advantage favoring KOBOLDS. It's going to be on Bob to turn this around. They're trying to cancel the Fiend script. The first life is instant, claiming up. Palos needs to stand his ground without a BKB. There's nothing they can do, as KOBOLDS might be in prime position to send this to a third game. They're going to try and chase down Bob, but multiple remnants into the TPR will make him out of harm's way. But KOBOLDS, man, what a fight.
Moody's positioning was really good there, just making sure to get it onto the back lines, get some of that vision for the rest of the team. Still at daytime, right? So you don't need to have the Observer Ward down to have a great level of impact, and just instant use of the Fiend's Grip as soon as the Wraith King pop the BKB. And of course, once you respawn after that, has no ways to take off the Enfeeble. So even if you tried to stay in man fight, it would have been pretty non-effective.
Skadi has looked very good on the Mars this game. I know he's 9-7-14, not the craziest KDA, but it's a very different playstyle that they're requiring from him in a game like this compared to the Necrophos, and he's proving that he's got a really good Mars. Of course, there's a high level in it naturally with Dota Plus, and well, now you've got Aghanims on Valky to be able to combine with, so a lot of AoE control.
Yeah, We got Fortune Soul with the Butterfly, so I was talking about the importance of the Elven Tunic previously. Butterfly pretty damn effective against this Execration lineup as the Hawk.
Does Bob go for
scout
this?
things out.
Sean has
I feel like
fallen to
maybe
the
if they
dark.
used the dive bomb, they could have considered it.
Mine.
It's not going to be the case. And well, that's so now he can
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Meteor Hammer, Refresher Shard.
Dude, he's not
Meteor
meteoring
Hammer
in
again.
fights.
Why not?
Genzo, don't do it. Oh, that region.
That's pretty important.
Okay.
Pretty important.
Wait, you reckon he's going to meteor hammer in fights?
Sure.
You're
why not?
trolling. There's no way. He's going to stand there still, like, just let everyone beat onto him for 3 seconds? Nah.
As long as he's facing him, gotta get that bulwark.
They see Scotty. He's a bit split from Scotty. They don't have visions of the triangle, so they don't know that no one is behind the Mars, but they're going to trail him throughout the river.
Sure, there was a call from the team of get the hell over to us.
They need a ward to take this fight. Scotty tries to get away, but the instant jump. Palace and Pop, but a double pushback again! And now Valky's in, a triple vortex. It's all gone bad for Execration. The lives once again being expended early, but Palace, hang on a second, is onto the gyrocopter. They get rid of Fortune Soul. They didn't give him the Aegis once again. They gave it to Valky. How do they set up for the second round? They're trying to aim the Hoodwink instead of the Storm Spirit. Silenced up at the moment. Bob's got the chains in a couple of seconds, but the fear! Oh, the fear from Vincenzo. It's ever so important. Scotty just pulled back as well. He might be forced to use the shard to hold them with the arena, but they will not give him an opportunity. 3 gone. No buyback. That might just be game. They push so fast on Execration.
That could be one of the biggest win probability swings in the shortest period of time that I can remember.
Oh, that's bad.
I mean, they have no cause. What can they do?
This game?
Dire's
Filza? Maybe he'll lose Bob, but it doesn't matter. GG's called. Scotty is going to be the one to call it quits here as Execration was a little bit rocky in this second game. KOBOLDS proved that they are no slouch of a team at all, but Execration now are going to move over to the finals of kind of the top bracket, which more importantly also gives them 2 opportunities to qualify into phase 2.
It does, and if there was any game that showcases the importance of having a BKB, it is this game, because you only have one BKB piercing disable, and that is the Primal Roar, which was used onto the gyrocopter. That's why Fortune Soul ended up going down with only able to get 1 right click, I believe, out of his Satanic active. So Mars just wasn't able to. Like, you could have Arena, Refresher Shard, Arena. Doesn't mean shit if you can't do it the first time because you're silenced or stunned for the whole duration. And unfortunately for him, just didn't have the impact that was needed until the very end. It was the Meteor Hammer. That was the problem, Aries.
Meteor Hammer, the goddamn Meteor. I don't know. You're a hater. They got to that stage with KOBOLDS, but it's now again puts.
You're a non-BKB buyer. That's what it is.
That's very true. Non-BKB buyer, at least for KOBOLDS. Like you said earlier on, it is double elimination, so they will still have the potential to qualify over to phase 2. They will be facing the loser of UDV or Patriots. Of course, for anyone that is unaware, Patriots is Apes Esports. So that is another series down the line, though. That's not going to be happening today. What we have next is Army Geniuses up against MY. So we're going to go to the bottom of the bracket instead, and we'll see how that one's going to shape out. We will have about a 15-minute break, so that we do have followed by schedule here for the BTS Pro Series 11. So next series coming your way in about 15 minutes. We'll see you guys then.